So, Johnny Tudor, Christmas really gets underway for entertainers this week and next because it's the start of Panto season, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they start rehearsals. I mean, only a few, I think, not the whole country, but the ones that are allowed to. I think Cardiff's got one because our friend Mike's doing it. He started rehearsals,
Mickey Doyle, yeah.
I think, 2 days ago.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like? Because obviously, in the good old days, you'd come off your summer season, you'd been doing a couple of gigs. Would you have been looking forward to November and December, or would you be dreading it?
Well, I used to like Panto because, I mean, when it's cold and it's dull outside, you can't do much. So you're in with a bunch of people. The camaraderie is great, You're in a warm theatre, and it's enjoyable. I mean, it's hard work. It's not easy, but it's enjoyable hard work.
I've seen a lot of people show their pictures of their scripts. Is that like a special moment when the script arrives? You never let the script get in the way of a good panto, did you?
I remember once when we started Cardiff, I think we were doing Mother Goose. And there was an old comedian who was playing the dame, he was playing the goose. And he was playing Mother Goose. Anyway, he sat next to me, and the producer was a bit pompous at this time, and he was saying, we open our script, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I shall tell you at the outset, I shall be cutting ruthlessly." We haven't started yet. So he turns to me, the old comic, and said, "He's a proper prat." Yeah, but I mean, then stuff changes. I mean, the script is just, I don't know, it's just a little guide because the comedians do their own thing. I mean, they'll have a script for the storyline, and then you'll have, we'll do the so-and-so gag here, and then all the comics know it. You know what I mean? We'll do the I'm not here gag this time, okay? Or we'll do the echo gag, and they all know it. Yeah. And they just scared to this huddles and plug these things in. When they're changing a scene, a front cloth, there'll be a front cloth gag, see? Gives time for people to change the scenery. I mean, it's silly jokes. I mean, the I'm not here gag is, I can prove you're not here. And you bet them 10 quid, see? Right. Why would you do that? Well, are you in Africa? No. Are you in Canada? No. Are you in Bridgend? No. Well, if you're not in Canada, Bridgend, you must be someone else. If you're not someone else, you can't be here. And he pitches them. It's stupid stuff, But yeah, it's good time. Panto time's great.
And also, I mean, it's a big, commitment for the performers because they go to this new town, don't they? Quite a lot of them, they go to a new town, so you have to get the digs all sorted out, get your sort of routine all sorted out. That it can be. I mean, it must be a big it's a big commitment, isn't it? It's a big upheaval.
Yeah, and you're away from home, and you get the Christmas day off. I think that's about it. Because you'll be working Boxing Day and you'll be working Christmas Eve, I should think. Yeah. So you always work. The only day you get off is Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So if you're too far away, I mean, I used to try and get back. It was in Manchester, for instance. On Christmas Eve, we'd finish the matinee, plus we only did one show. I'd just jump in the car and come home for Christmas Day and then shoot back ready for the next show.
Wow.
But I was lucky enough to do quite a lot in Wales, so I could get home anyway.
Yeah.
I did Swansea, did Cardiff, did Porthcawl, did the travelling one around the valleys. So I was always about. Yeah. So that was okay. But when I did Liverpool, for instance, I'd be up in Liverpool. I was there for like 8 weeks. And Manchester and so on.
I mean, obviously those big ones. And I think we got some video of actually with Vince Hill.
Oh, me and Vince.
Is it Babs as well? Is it Babs as well?
With dear old Barbara Windsor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barbara was in it. Bill Maynard was in it. Jimmy Marshall. It was a big panto, that. Yeah. It was Howard and Wyndham, and they used to be the biggest panto company in the country at the time. Howard and Wyndham's was, if you get one of those, they were great. They had all the stuff made from scratch. They sent me to London to get special boots made, thigh-length boots made in Anello and David. I had to go to wig creations, and they'd take a bit of your hair and they'd match it for the ponytail. I mean, it was nothing was spared. It was a lot of money spent on this big panto. Yeah. But then the following year, you see, that whole panto would be sold down to somebody else, so they would use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first panto you did, you must remember. Where was the first panto?
Oh, the first one I did was in 1966.
Right.
I know you don't look old enough.
Child.
It was. I just finished a tour of a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum with Dave King, Charles Hawtrey. Who else was in it? Eddie Gray of the Crazy Gang, Sian Hopkins, my friend from Wales. Anyway, so when I finished that, the same company were putting this panto on in the Davenport Theatre, Stockport. And it was Al Reid, who was an old comedian, quite well known in his day, Julie DeMarco was a singer from Swansea, and Kenneth Earl, who was a tenor, quite well known. And it was Cinderella. We did Cinderella in Stockport. That was the first one.
Yeah.
The next one I did was Swansea Grand.
Right. I mean, what
with Stan.
What roles would you take then? Because you're not a comedian, but you're funny. You are a singer, but you're a dancer. How did they write the role for you? Or is there a panto role, especially that Johnny Tudor type character could play? What would they? If I was going to cast Johnny Tudor now, where would I cast him in a normal panto? Would he be a part?
Well, no, because of my age, you'd have to. I'd be a different character. When I started, I was playing like the principal boys, the young the handsome guy running on with the sword, like the hero part.
Hero part. That's right. Always a hero.
Yeah. But then. But now, you see, unless you go into Dame or something, if you're a comedian, you'd probably go into Dame.
Right.
But, I didn't want to do that with all big clothes. It's hard work. But I would play, let me see what I play. I'd play a captain, if it was Robinson Crusoe, captain of the ship. Or I could play, in Cinderella, I could play the Baron.
Yeah.
You got to play your age, you know what I mean?
Yes. And then, do they say this is Johnny's spot? Or do you have to, hold on a second now, I'm going to do my thing here. Is it that sort of scripted out? Johnny
in the old days, you always had a spot,
right.
And you did your act in the middle of the ballroom scene, I remember in Cinderella in Liverpool, the prince, charming, would say, Dandini, I was playing Dandini, Dandini, you will entertain my courtiers. I go into impressions with Frankie Vaughan and Tom Jones and stuff. It's totally incongruous, you know what I mean? I don't. They don't do that so much these days, I don't think. Oh. They just stick to the script, the storyline,
Kids these days, they don't know what they're missing.
They don't know panto like we know it.
No. Oh, yes, they do. Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. Favourite pantos that you did? Obviously, those years with Stan, we talked about that in the past, but those were great years. And you say quite often close to home, so you could get back for Christmas Day.
That's right.
Favourite pantos?
I used to like, what you mean, the subject?
No, the ones that you enjoyed.
The ones that you enjoyed. I loved Swansea Grand. We had a great time. We were there from, I think it was 2 weeks before Christmas, and we finished March the 15th. I mean, sold out every day.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic run, and it was great, to be working with Stan. That was the first time I ever worked with him. 1969, 70, that was. And then I did Cardiff with him. I did Mother Goose with him in Cardiff. And then I did, what's the other one? I did one with my old pal, Ted Rogers. We did Aladdin. That was a strange one because Peter Lee, who was the manager at the time, wanted me to play Aladdin, right? Then he had a change of heart halfway through. And he said, no, I've got Anne Aston. Do you remember her?
Golden Slot. Golden Shot.
Yeah. So he got Anne Aston to play Aladdin. Sometimes they had girls playing boys, didn't they? So I said, what about me? I made one up for you. You're Prince Saigon. So I was made up. But I did all the singing and dancing because she couldn't sing. So I was I was really the principal boy in different clothes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Yeah.
And then I did one with Dickie Henderson. That was a great one. Well, I told you the story with Dickie Henderson.
You're going to die. You're going to die.
That's it.
With a terrible
audience. That was
audience.
Robinson Crusoe, and he was Billy Crusoe.
Yeah, and it was a terrible audience.
And Alwyn was in that too. Alwyn was playing Alice Fitzwarren,
right,
who was the girl in Robinson Crusoe. But we did the old jokes there. We did the ghost joke where you're sitting on the bench, and the ghost comes behind you. Let's sing a song. Okay, what should we sing? Well, Dickie Henderson did it like an act in Vegas. I don't know, Robinson, what should we do? I said, well, what should we sing? Well, I said something. He said, that doesn't turn me on. He says, what about this? And we went into some song or other. Then on comes the ghost,
It's funny because obviously the show is full of professionals, seasoned professionals.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes along who's famous for something and takes top billing. I mean, they have probably have very little talent in those areas and make all the big bucks. Does that hurt?
I think it hurts the comedians because, as Stan used to say, when Bruno was in Panto, he said, I think I'll fight for the world championship next week. Because, as you say, they're parachuted in because they're famous.
Yeah.
And I've never understood it because little children don't know who these people are. Mm-hmm. They go to see Cinderella, the show. They're not interested in it.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's best to get good seasoned panto performers who know what they're doing and do the jokes and so on for the children. But I mean, it's changed, you know.
Yeah.
Remember Eddie Kidd, the motorbike bloke?
Oh, yes.
He was in it once.
Really? Mr. T did one with Win Calvin.
He did one with Win Calvin, and he didn't know what it was.
No.
He thought pantomime was like Marcel Marceau, because that's what it means to Americans. I've tried this before. I've been on ships and that with lots of Americans and tried to explain the pantomime to them.
Go on, explain it to me now like I'm an American. Tell me what pantomime is, right?
Right. Well, it's a story for children, but the men dress up as women and the women dress up as men. They think this is a bit kinky. I said, basically, it's a musical with comedy aimed at children over the Christmas period. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's songs, there's dances, there's comedy sketches. It's peculiar to Britain, you see. They only do it in Canada, and they do it in Australia as well. But you know, nobody else does it. Yeah. It comes from the commedia dell'arte, doesn't it? Originally,
right?
The Italian, you know. But see, people like Dan Leno, you know, in the 1800s and whatever, he used to be the Dame, Dan Leno,
right?
And he was famous. But they always did topical jokes. Always, even then, you've got to bring a joke in of the day. You know, and you make a joke about somebody, like somebody come on and said, "Look out, it's Donald Trump." You know what I mean? It gets a big laugh. And you remember the one I did up in not Pontypridd, up the Rondon, the Park and Day, a couple of years back. And I was dressed up as the Sultan of Morocco, right? They come on all this gear, you know. And I'm talking to this girl, and she's going, "He has gone up there," and she's doing this funny accent. "Where's he gone? He has gone over there." I turned to the audience and said, "He's from Abercombe Boy." Gets a belly laugh, you see. Do you know what I mean? It's stupid stuff, but it gets a laugh.
That's fantastic. And the friendships, because you mentioned your old friend this, your old friend that. I mean, you're in a town, probably a long way from home. You're 6 to 8 weeks altogether. It does build a bond that friendships do last a very long time, don't they?
It's a family. Once you're together, it's fun. I mean, sometimes you don't get on with everybody, but basically you'll find somebody you gravitate to. And for me, when I was with Ted Rogers, he was one of my biggest friends. He'd ring me every day, Ted, when he was alive. He'd ring every day. "Hello, John, how's it going?" And if I went away anywhere, I came back after being away 3 weeks, "Chief, don't go off the air. I got to talk to you every day." And Win Calvin, I still talk to old Win, and he's 95.
Wow.
And of course, Stan's passed the last couple of years, but I mean, Stan was one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Because we had laughs together, you know. It was great. You'd laugh about stupid things, and it was great. It's like a family. Yeah,
you remember the gigs, you remember those pantomimes. Remember when somebody did that, and the stories go on all night, don't they? All night. Yeah,
I never forget this bloke. He was a stage hand at the Grand, and he was in the daytime. He was a coalman. Okay,
right.
Now, before they altered the structure of the Grand, the stage door was, as you look at it, on the left, there was a bus station there, and there was a pub called the Volunteers, and that's where the stage door was, right? And you came off straight from the street, straight up to the stage. So this guy now, he's been working all day, and he's late, and he didn't realise it, and he's all black because he's a coalman, and he walked across the stage, and we're on doing a sketch, and he said, "All right, Stan." And Stan said, "All right, Dad." Bloody coalman. Oh, some of the silly things have happened, you know. Yeah. Fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, would you do panto these days? Are your panto days over, do you think? I mean, Win was doing them till his late 80s, early 90s, wasn't he?
If I was approached to do one, it depends where it was. I wouldn't go to Newcastle. Yeah. Nothing against Newcastle.
I love Newcastle.
I don't want to be all the way up there for Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I wouldn't mind doing a local. The last one I did, of course, was up in Coventry. But and it snowed, and I thought, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" You know, it was great when I did Park and Day because it was literally home every night. You know what I mean?
And you've got children and grandchildren now. To be away over that period, it's a big. Because I've heard that it's because a lot of the stagehands and ASMs and DSMs have had to get other jobs during COVID. That it's been a bit difficult this year to get those people because they've got proper jobs with pensions and holidays. You know, it's a big ask to go to Rill for 5 weeks when you don't know anybody.
Well, that's right. Mm. I mean, this COVID has killed a lot of theatre. I mean, goodness me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm glad there's a couple going now. It's really great, to know this stuff up and running. I mean, I don't know how many towns are doing it. Cardiff is definitely. Is there one in Swansea?
There's one in Swansea,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a runner in that one.
There is Colin Jackson's in it, isn't he? Colin Jackson, that well-known comedian and singer.
Yeah, he's probably going to be they're doing Aladdin. I bet he's Abanas. No, you'll be Abanas. He'll be the genie of the lamp.
He was made for the role. Made for the role. He's got the legs for it. He's got the
and
legs.
If he doesn't like it, he can run away.
Hop off. Help it. Sorry, because he's fantastic. All right. Well, look. Have a good week.
And you.
And the video, I think, will come out next week. The video starring worldwide stars, including our very own Johnny Tudor. I can't say much more about it than that, but it's going to be a big one, Johnny. I think it could change all our lives.
Why not?
And if not,
listen, I'll be seeing you next week. I'm going to that lady that ran
the Swansea DSA Christmas Carol service. Fantastic.
The Christmas Carol service. I'm coming down. She's invited me, so I'm going to the funeral, unfortunately, in the morning, and I'll come straight over there for you.
Fantastic. We'll take some video and we'll use it. Obviously, if I'm still talking to you next week, if it hasn't gone to my head. So, as always, it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from me as myself.
As you say. Thanks, Johnny. Bye.
Ta-da!